Studio, mics are up. A very good morning to you, and thanks for joining us on Freshly Pressed 981 as part of the Smooth Breakfast here on Smooth 98.1 FM Lagos. Lagos, to be part of the conversation as we go through the stories this morning, please send a message to WhatsApp. It's just messages to 0809 444 0981. Also on Twitter at Smooth981FM. The hashtag there is Freshly Pressed 981. In the studio with me this morning is Ugo Dre. Good morning, Ugo.
Hey, bro.
Thanks for joining me.
Morning.
Thanks for joining me, man. So Ugo Dre is going to be analyzing the stories alone. But Lagos, you
Set
are...
out.
Yeah, well, it's not. you on the other side, you are our analyst as well. So please analyze and send your analysis to our WhatsApp number 0809 444 0981 for your comments and observations on the story. We'll start with this first one. Before that, on YouTube, you can also leave a comment. The YouTube address is Smooth981FM. If you type that in the search box, you'll find us. Hit the subscribe button. So when next we come on live, you get to know first. Vanguard newspaper has this first story. Lagos at a standstill as over 12,000 trucks choke roads. We've been complaining about the over 5,000 articulated trucks on our roads ever since in Lagos, causing traffic in different parts, especially the Apapa-linked areas and the environs. But now it seems to get worse. So in this report, there's a talk about a suspension that took effect on the 14th of July 2018 and has been given as a reason why we have more trucks coming into the city, blocking several roads. And now it's not enough that we see that there's over 12,337 tankers and container-laden trucks presently legally parked in various parts of Lagos. What do you think, Ugo?
Incredible. The reason that they gave was that they had suspended 4 major shipping companies, Maersk, Costco, APS, and Lansal, and that had created a lot of the backlogs that we're seeing, and that has now extended beyond into Ikorodu Road, into probably going to hit Oshodi later today, from what people are saying, as in that whole stretch, and cause not the gridlock that we're seeing now. Another report also said that it's also one of the things that also made it worse. Of course, the deplorable roads that we have around that Apapa area.
Yes.
They also claim that there was a bridge. There's that what's that bridge called? I think the Apapa Ijora bridge.
Yeah, Apapa Ijora, yeah. The Wharf Bridge.
Yes, was also shut down. So that has also worsened things. See, you know what worries me is that Lagos State is actually very, very easy to shut down.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just what this shows, that it's very easy to just shut down the state. And every day we go to work or we go about our daily livelihood in Lagos, we're actually in perpetual danger.
Yeah.
Anything can actually happen. And what's been going on is that these trucks cause massive traffic jams. And now robbers are taking advantage. So from some of the reports that we're getting, while people are in their cars and traffic, these guys just, robbers come in, shatter windscreens, windows, and then start to rob people. So it's just making everywhere unsafe rather. So I don't know what Lagos State government can do to contain this. I mean, these truck drivers or these trucks have been a complete nuisance, and it's been going on for years. And it's just that now it's worse.
Do you think the government is overwhelmed? With the weight?
I think they are. Yeah. I mean, Apapa itself is a huge burden for Lagos State right now, and I don't think the state government knows what to do with that with Apapa. They actually do not know what to do, and it's to be fair to them, it's federal government's problem. So how they're going to deal with it, they really don't know, right? So Apapa Port, this is a port that serves the entire country.
Yes.
Yet the infrastructure around the port is
not
deplorable. Yeah. So there's really nothing much. Sometimes you see these last mile guys and you just pity them. There's really nothing they can do. I mean, are you going to just use rope and drag the trucks away?
And then another serious problem that we encounter, or rather the threat that is impending, is the weight of these trucks on some of the bridges that they park on. It just makes you wonder, how long can these bridges hold them up?
And there are just so many of them, and it's not like another problem that I'm envisaging now, Valentine, is next week. I think next week they're probably going to shut down. They say they're going to shut down parts of terminal next week. So what's going to happen to traffic jam in Lagos? So because these trucks are not moving out anytime soon, from what reading. It's not like they're going to move at any time soon. Suspension is still there. Some of the problems that they've had still persist. And even before the suspension, we've always had the strokes on those bridges, on these roads for months now.
Yeah.
So with Third Mainland being shut down, I don't know what life would look like living in Lagos. Maybe we'll start to use helicopters.
Or flying cars. Wow, it's a serious problem. Let us know what you think about that story as we move on to Punch newspaper for the next. Police parade suspected Chibok girls abductors others. This is 4 years after the 276 schoolgirls were abducted from their hostel at a government secondary school in Chibok, Borno State by Boko Haram insurgents. The police on Wednesday paraded 8 men allegedly involved in the crime to have been committed. So 14 of them were paraded alongside, actually 8 persons were paraded alongside 14 others for alleged terrorism, and said journalists were given a chance to interrogate or ask them certain questions. And the police commissioner, or when they presented, the inspector general of police actually, when they presented the suspects to journalists, they gave credence to thousands of police, mobile force and counterterrorism unit personnel, the bomb squad, the police air wing, the federal special anti-robbery squad, the conventional police personnel, force criminal intelligence department, police terrorism investigation center, and other support detachments of the force attached to Operation Lafia Dole. So they were all deployed to achieve this success. Ugo, what are your thoughts?
These are, what caught my attention here was the number of names they made. I've never heard of this.
I know.
These divisions of the police before.
Yeah.
Counter-terrorism unit.
It just means there's cooperation across the force.
Special anti-robbery squad, conventional police personnel, force criminal intelligence department, police terrorism investigation center. Anyway, good news.
Yes.
At least we now have some people in suspects in custody. The report also claims that the suspects also have also confessed to masterminding the kidnap of the Chibok girls, including a lot of the other, a lot of the bombings and
the attacks.
The attacks that we've seen over the last 4 to 5 years. I mean, these are probably not the only guys. There are a lot more people, but at least finally we have 22 people in custody, and now Valentine, maybe we can get to know exactly what happened. How these guys actually went ahead to kidnap the Chibok girls.
That's some information all you got to hear.
They are claiming these are the guys that actually did it. So maybe now we can actually know what happened, and if they were co-conspirators within the political class in that state. Right, I mean, suspicions have been that, look, this is some politically motivated move. These guys could have just gone into the schools to carry these girls like that. They must have been some kind of they must have had some kind of partners somewhere within the political class in that state. So now maybe we might find out. We just hope that they don't go ahead and just confiscate or try to get these guys to tell us exactly what happened. Yes, finally we've seen some arrests. How long is it going to take for them to bring these guys to justice? That's
another question in there.
We also have to deal with. But at least it's good news that these guys have been arrested. My only fear now is that I just hope that it doesn't get to affect some of the girls that have still been kidnapped. We still have some girls that haven't returned yet.
Because we had an experience not too long ago where some arrested and detained suspects from the Boko Haram terrorism really were used as a swap deal, as a swap deal for the 81 girls that were released at that time. So we hope this is not one. This doesn't turn out into one of those. And
that's the fear too. So because now that the police is, they're actually they're confidently bringing these guys out. I mean, like they paraded them in front of journalists and saying, look, these are the guys that masterminded all this thing. Is it going to endanger
the lives of the girls? And let's not forget,
we still want them back.
Let's not forget the girl who's actually still held back.
The girl who's still held back. So she's also there, and negotiations are also going on. And then I also hope this doesn't also endanger a lot of the peace corps who are actually negotiating release of some of these girls in the Far East as well. So it's a mix of good and bad news for me. I just hope that the authorities manage this very well, and at least we can leverage on these arrests to probably understand how a lot of these kidnappings actually take place.
Thank you very much, Ugo Dre. Ugboma Chido's here send this message on WhatsApp. Says, good morning, guys. Please, on the issue of trailer on the road, why is it impossible for us to open up other ports in the country? Must everything pass through Lagos? That's the question we're still asking.
Yeah, that's what we're asking too. I think there's one in Calabar, isn't it? Yeah, we're looking at that. They've been talking about one in Onitsha, dry land port. So nothing has happened to now. So
MI from Akoka says over 12,000. Wow, the sheer number and size of these trucks have become a nightmare for motorists and commuters alike in parts of Lagos. These are major roads. The government should do the needful. Rising incidents of truck-related accidents is not funny at all. We deserve better.
I don't think they're up to 12,000 though, but they're quite a lot.
I mean, yes. I mean, according to the report,
we have 12,000 cars.
Yes, we do. We have so many cars. Now, Guardian newspaper has this next story. Federal government unveils Nigeria Air as new national carrier, owns 5% equity. The federal government in this report is said to have unveiled the name of the new national carrier as Nigeria Air. The airline, set to take off December 24, that's Christmas Eve, is largely private investors owned, with the government owning only 5% equity. Ugo, your thoughts on this?
There's a bit of misconception here, though. The government currently says they will own 5% equity.
Yes.
Now, the 95% equity, nobody owns it yet.
Right? They're offering it up for bid.
Yeah, but nobody was saying this. So the government currently owns Nigeria Air anyway. So I guess this is just to make it look like, look, oh, it's not a government thing, private sector, but this is the government initiative. Now, let's go to the good part of this. Having a national carrier, it's not such a bad thing. Probably means more jobs. You're sure that directly, indirectly, this is probably going to create 200 to 300 jobs.
Yes.
New jobs for a lot of Nigerians. And the aviation sector has been hard hit by the recession. Yeah, a lot of people lost their jobs over the last 3 to 4 years, and so these guys might probably find their way back into Nigerian Air. But Valentine, what I don't really get is the fixation for having a national carrier, especially for African countries. I don't know why this has to always happen.
It is stated in this report that one of the reasons that was stated by the government agencies is that the national carrier is actually meant to boost the support, act as support system, boost the efforts of the privately owned airlines.
We have
already
the government already owns Arik Air through AMCON and Aero. And they've been struggling to turn those two airlines around. These are actually airlines that fly local routes, right? They don't even do international anymore. So they're struggling to manage those airlines. Now you want to set up another one, right? And then get private sector investors to come in. I just smell it. Smell it right here. I don't know why.
Perhaps
how do you want to operate this? Which private sector investor is going to come in here to
perhaps let's look at it this way. Now, the other privately owned, the ones that you mentioned, the Arik and the other ones, perhaps the foreign investors who might be interested in coming to the aerospace business or industry in Nigeria are skeptical about those existing businesses and saying, oh, maybe they're just skeptical about getting into that terrain that's already been modeled with a lot of controversy, and they need a fresh start. And maybe this might provide that avenue.
That is on the assumption that owning an airline is actually an incredibly profitable business, but that's not how it is. It doesn't work that way. The margins are actually very, very thin. So for you to actually be profitable in an airline business, your operations has to be first class, standard, right? You have to, and I don't think we can do that. We just can't deliver excellent service that can deliver a profitable airline for us.
But we're not the ones.
How many airlines have we seen come and go in Nigeria? Do you understand? So I don't think it's a priority personally. I'm not saying there's anything wrong in having a national airline, or a national carrier. If I call it a national, why do you even call it a national carrier? And then you say government owns 5%. Is this still a national carrier? It's a private sector driven airline. So why is it a national carrier? Because calling it a national carrier means you're not going to have certain advantages over other carriers, other airlines that might want to also fly international routes. Right. So for me, I don't think this is what the government needs now. We don't have enough roads. We're still using locomotive rail, right? So there's a lot of investment that should go into
other means of
transportation. There's still waterways out there that we haven't even explored at all.
Yeah.
So having an airline, yes, it's good for fanfare. It's good for it's all political talk. It's political season coming up, so the government is trying to score some political points in the bag. ahead of the campaigning. But I don't see this going anywhere, quite frankly. I'm trying to. I'm waiting to see the so-called strategic investors that are going to come in here and what business model they want to actually run. I mean, who are you going to compete? Are you going to compete with some of the airlines that you already have now that have better fleets, better operations, but yet they are struggling under low margins?
All right, so we'll move on now. Ifeanyi has been sending this message on WhatsApp several days now. It says, please ask the federal government to pay off ex-Nigeria Airways workers and pensioners who were sent home since 2003. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ifeanyi. We'll take more of your messages here. The number 0809 444 981 for the WhatsApp messages. Benga says, the planned closure of the Third Mainland Bridge should be put on hold for now until the trucks packed on the roads are removed and drastically reduced. Else, Lagos will be hell on earth. The menace of these trucks on our roads can be likened to that of the herdsmen across the country. We've failed to plan over the years, and the direct consequences of this is hitting us very hard. We have a message from Chris. Says nothing speaks to the ineptitude of the present government as much as the neglect of the Apapa ports and the two roads that lead to it. Amazing how any responsible government can lead the roads that lead to your main airport, or main ports rather, through which you get all your imports and earn massive revenue from MPA and customs get back as the roads that Apapa has currently. Chika Agina from Marina said, for me, the only way to describe the menace of the trucks on the road is to say that the governments, both state and federal, is insensitive to the plight of common Nigerians. Livy from Festac Town says, what is the Minister of Transportation doing concerning the trucks issue? My suggestion is let the government or individuals who have money go and purchase hectares of land for them to form as a park at Ogun State near the Redeem Camp. I guess they've done their survey and seen that that's a very viable position to actually take. Now, Ugboma Chidoze says, on this Air Nigeria, being Nigeria Air, why do the governor of Imo State, Rochas, come to mind? If you remember the Imo Air, you would understand what I'm saying. I wouldn't want to say much at this time. Hashtag watching. Next story is an exclusive from Premium Times newspaper. How ex-lawmaker sacked in 2017 influenced 800 million naira projects in 2018 budgets. In their report, they named the House of Representatives member that was sacked in 2017, Herman Hembe. It says immersed in alleged influence peddling, leading to insertion of projects worth about 827 million naira. In this report, they alleged he's a close ally with the Speaker of the House of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, and said that he's influenced a lot of projects, inserted projects based on the inflation of projects that the House presented to Buhari, and he hadn't really counted so far because, I mean, it seems as if it was blocked in a corner. Ugo Dre, what's your take on this story? I mean, looking at all the details revealed in this mind-boggling expose.
Yeah, very, very extensive investigative report by Premium Times. He's actually close allied to Yakubu Dogara, and I mean, if you recall, was it last year?
Yeah,
he was sacked. And then when he left, where he now decamped from APC to PDP. Interestingly, the government, of course, compensated him and made him chairman of governing board of Michael Omodu National Institute of Labour Studies, which is like a university for labor unions in Nigeria. In fact, West African countries actually come to that university. I think they located in Lorry or something. They come there for their maybe education
conferences.
Conferences. So it's like university for labor. So he's the chairman.
Yeah.
And then so according to the report, so he basically used that, as a leverage to get his own projects in the budget. And so because it's a parastatal under the Ministry of Labor, excuse me, he gets to also, of course, insert some things that, he has his own budgetary provisions. But what the problem is that a lot of the things that were inserted in there actually had nothing to do with the school where he's actually chairman of the board.
Yes.
The labor study, actually nothing at all. In fact, they say the according to the report, there's a road. One of the projects included a road that's leading to directly to his house. Right, they call the road in your Hembe Road. It's actually named, I think, after him.
Yeah.
And I think in the budget, if you go and set the budget, what you see is in your H Road.
So they excluded the full name, so it's not suggestive.
And then other projects included, the wait for this, a solar powered borehole. Never heard of that.
Wow.
Solar powered borehole and street light in 8 communities within us in his constituency as well. Meanwhile, his constituency is in Benue State too, whereas the school is in Kwara State. And then, of course, construction of town halls and the usual motorcycles and all that for people. So these are some of the problems that we had with passing budgets in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And this is why the executive is always crying foul when they complain that members of the National Assembly typically insert all sorts of pork barrel projects into the projects that you ordinarily shouldn't be seen in the budget. And this is one of the reasons why budgets get delayed this long. I mean, this is the classic example. Hembe has come out to deny it. I mean, of course, you expect him to deny it. But people are saying, look, some members of the National Assembly are saying, look, this came from him, obviously. I mean, nobody else would have.
But do you reckon there will be a response from his close ally, Yakubu Dogara? Do you think he'll speak up about this?
I don't know. It depends on how much pressure is mounted on him. This is an exclusive from Premium Times. And usually when they push out this kind of exclusive, there's usually a response.
It raises dust, yes.
Hembe has come out to deny it. In fact, he has accused the lady that eventually took over from him, I can't remember her name again, as the person who probably
Dorothy Mato.
Yeah, she says no, that it's not her. She's just seeing it for the first time. Because he's saying no, this is political adversaries.
And there's blame game now. It just seems like.
I mean, but the federal government can decide not to cash back any of this project.
There's also mention in this story about Mr. Hembe being ordered by the Supreme Court to refund to the National Assembly within 19 days all the monies he collected as salaries. You remember that rule? All the salaries and allowances. But there's no evidence that he or all the lawmakers have
spent already.
Boy. Next story from Guardian newspaper. Senate approves 348 billion naira to 74 oil marketers for outstanding subsidy claims. Now, in this report, it is said that they approved it yesterday, the payments of 348 billion naira. So that was outstanding payments of subsidy claims to O&O, Total, Honeywell, Capital Oil, Corner Oil, AA Rano, Folawiyo, Eternal, and other petroleum marketers. What's your take on this, Ugo?
Yeah, so if these guys are owing you, better go down.
They have money now.
They tell you now that because government has not paid us.
Yeah,
so now
finally paid.
If the Senate has approved, I mean, even though they haven't actually paid them the cash, the Senate has finally approved. I think this was claims, subsidy claims and claims associated with I think exchange rate issues that they had over the years. Initially, it was 670 billion, and then they haggled, and the government pushed back that there were some claims in there that they couldn't actually verify. Eventually, they've approved 384 billion. So it wasn't clear how this would be paid, even though they stated that some people would get 100%, while others that didn't actually completely verify their claims will get, I think, 60% or so of the amount. So it's good cash injected into the economy. Some of these companies actually need this cash. The downstream sector of the oil and gas industry has been struggling for some years now, especially since the oil price tanked. NNPC is probably the sole importer of oil currently, of petrol currently, or products currently, and a lot of these guys don't actually have the financial muscle to do that, and banks wouldn't even touch. In fact, if this money comes in, I won't be surprised that it's going to find its way back to the banks, because a lot of these guys have
collected loans over time.
Loans and this money actually don't actually belong to them. That belongs to banks and maybe some of their suppliers. So yes, it's good. This one is in the bag already. There's actually a breakdown of the payment. It says some of the oil marketers and the amount approved for them include ATO. ATO is getting, I think, 4.8 billion, Corner 5.8 billion, 40 oil 15.4 billion. And then a host of others. Total is getting 21 billion. So
Capital Oil 8.3.
Yeah, that's a lot of money there. I'm sure the banks are reading this and
they're very excited.
Somebody's probably waking up.
Okay, we're waiting for that last.
CFO's office in this company to wait for their money.
Very interesting. We'll take more of your messages here. So this one is from Onyx from Lekki. He says, "Good morning, freshly pressed crew. Wait for the third mainland bridge to be closed. Lagos will be on standstill," is what they're saying. This next one from Gerald says, says Nigeria can give excellent service. The agencies governing the airline industry are the ones killing the business. That's what Gerald says. Tosin Ebaba says Nigerian Air, in as much as some positives exist, the insincerity of the government is what will kill the idea. Low margin business, need for top-notch management team, high capital barrier. I'm waiting to see their grand plan in addressing this. All right, we'll talk about some more stories. Vanguard newspaper is next. We have limited powers to stop vote buying, INEC spokesman said. So the National Electoral Commission, INEC, has said that it has limited capacity to stop vote buying and justified the 242 billion naira proposal that was presented by our President Buhari to conduct the 2019 general elections. Ugo, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't know why they went. Why this admittance? I don't know why they're admitting this. They by law, yes, they can arrest, but by law, if there's clear evidence that there was vote buying, INEC can actually invoke his powers. And what we saw in Ekiti State was a huge disgrace. It's probably a precursor to what might happen in 2019. So Nigerians are actually very, very worried. This all started in Edo State. We saw it happen brazenly. You know, in the past, when you see vote buying, it was done secretly, isn't it? But now it's
brazen. It's just out in the open, in front of the cameras, even.
Yeah, and people are, and it's just normal. Like, it just seems so normal, and you just take the money, and you know, whether you end up voting other parties is a different thing, though, because we don't know how you voted. But then it's not a sight that we want to see.
Yeah,
it's not something that we should encourage.
That's really
and I think INEC should actually be a bit more serious about this.
But they have the powers to prosecute.
Yeah, they have the powers to prosecute. Yes, they can arrest, like they said. But I don't know whether. I would expect that they have the powers to actually declare some of these things, or maybe cancel some of these elections. Yeah, if there are clear cases of inducement,
that's a clear discrepancy.
Yeah, discrepancy, and then you can actually just cancel the results. I guess they're also scared of afraid of their lives, but this should be part of their reports, and then because we can't allow this to continue and claim that because we can't arrest, then people should just continue to share money at polling booths. Is that really an excuse? Is that what we should tolerate? You know what I mean? So it's not something that I'm happy about. I think NEC should be a bit more measured with the way they make this statement.
All right. Leading us straight into Punch newspaper for this next story. Shun Ponzi schemes. The Securities and Exchange Commission has warned Nigerians to shun fraudsters, Ponzi scheme managers that attract unsuspecting customers with huge but unrealistic returns. Now, you would expect that Nigerians would have learned from experience from MMM to other Ponzi schemes transpired in the past few years, 3 years and 4 years precisely. But Ugo Dre, this is still happening, and the SEC has decided to weigh in on this. They're giving a speech in Port Harcourt, River State during a town hall meeting, and analyzing the current initiatives by the Apex Capital Market Regulator. What's your take on this?
I don't know. Is it taking them 2 years to make this speech? MMM was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So this is about a year or so late. Yes, but Nigerians should avoid Ponzi schemes. We've been saying that for years now. And these things always come in cycles, and usually happens when there's a downturn. Now, the one that is actually worrying now for me, Valentine, is actually sports betting. Not that I have anything against sport betting companies, but a lot of Nigerians are getting sucked into sport betting.
What do you reckon could be wrong? Could be an impending danger?
I was on the show yesterday, and someone called me and was saying that, look, he's got a problem. He's seriously addicted to sport betting. He doesn't know what to do. He keeps losing money. He's addicted to it. Who can help him? So people need psychological help.
It's similar to gambling, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's more like gambling.
It
so the government start to look, regulatory wise, into how they can, start to maybe put some kind of social infrastructure around this. But it all drives it from the same need for people to make money.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't want to. Treasury bills probably get 11-12%. Nigerians are looking to make 50%, 60%, 2 times their investment. So that's why they're driving into a lot of all these very risky investments.
Thank you very much. Desperate measures now. Punch newspaper has this final story that we'll touch on very quickly. Robbery suspects charmed SARS operatives to escape from custody. This was very interesting. Punch Metro reported this one. It said the 2 robbery suspects, Bukola Adeoye and Rotimi Adeyeye, who allegedly escaped from the custody of SARS, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad of Ondo State Police Command, they were alleged to have charmed the officers on duty to escape. How did this happen?
You're asking me.
How?
if you can charm SARS, then, Jeez.
They said the elder brother.
That's what we heard. I heard those SARS guys cook themselves real good.
They said they gave one of the officers on duty juju, according to what they call it.
Yeah, and according to the story, it's actually a barrister.
Yeah,
the elder brother of one of the.
Well, that's his nickname.
Oh, well, is that his nickname?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's an italics.
Yeah. So gave them to juju, and then you know,
the officer just went and
uncuffed
them.
And no, they actually escaped cuffed, and then the guy who did the charm, the juju, now uncuffed them, and then they escaped. But eventually, they got hold of the girlfriend of one of the robbery suspects. I mean, I wonder why robbery suspects don't know these things. I mean, it's from the days of INEC, it's always the girlfriend. So they got hold of the girlfriend, and the girlfriend just led them back to the robbery suspects. They eventually shot one who died later, and then the other escaped. I don't know whether they found that one yet. But it's just some of the things that some of the dangers in fighting crime in Nigeria. You're not only fighting robbers who have guns, you're also fighting robbers who have charms. So these guys have all sorts of things just to ensure that they have they also have their own charms. So charms versus charms, guns versus guns.
And we'll get to see some of the videos, especially we'll probably talk on that during a time for entertainment news inside of Grapevine in 14 minutes. We'll talk about that. Rugged Man actually just yesterday released a video, showing how to spot the real SARS from the fake ones. Apparently there's impersonation going on there. Well, yeah. Thank you very much, Ugo Dre. You can find him up on Twitter at Ugo Dre. He's been wonderful analyzing all the stories this morning. Lagos, let's talk some more in 14 minutes inside of the Grapevine. You're listening to Smooth Breakfast here on Smooth 98.1. Good morning. Thank you.
Oh.
Well done.
That's why you keep doing it, because it's not. Don't do it.
No,